On this great Sunday afternoon next to the ocean. Is that cool or what? We have a great program for you this afternoon. The Lowndes High School Jazz Band under the direction of Mr. Charles Todd. Let's give them a hand.
Good afternoon. This is the Lowndes High School Jazz Ensemble. Lowndes High School is a high school from Valdosta, Georgia, and this is our jazz ensemble. We're here to perform for you this afternoon. We're going to do a mixture of some jazz standards, some modern jazz, some pop tunes, and just a general good mixture of music for you this afternoon. As we go through the program, I will introduce different students you see behind you and tell you a little bit about them and what they'll be doing. The first selection that we're going to do for you after this one is one entitled Tiger of San Pedro. And on Tiger of San Pedro, we feature a trumpet solo by Mr. Matt Price and a short drum solo by Mr. Jeremy Bell. Our next selection will be Tiger of San Pedro. Thank you very much. Our next selection is a tune by Chris Berg. It's kind of a modern jazz fusion piece. It's called Yeah Right, and on this one we're going to feature on tenor saxophone Mr. Reese Yarborough, and on guitar Mr. Landon Bryan. This is Yeah Right. selection is a Latin jazz tune entitled Rachel Esbasa. And on this one we feature a very fine alto sax player, our lead alto sax player, Mr. Jacob O'Neill. This is Rachel Esbasa. This year we have three young ladies that perform with us, three vocalists, and all three of them are also very fine musicians and instrumentalists as well. And we're going to feature our first vocalist, Miss Brittany Godwin, and she's going to do an old jazz standard called Misty. Miss Brittany Godwin. Thank you. Our next selection is kind of a jazz fusion piece by a group called Spiral Gyro. This is a piece that we're going to feature Mr. Jacob O'Neill on alto sax. This is a tune entitled Cafe Amour. Also featured on this one is our lead trombone player, Mr. Trey Bauer. Our next selection is one that's entitled Summertime by Gershwin. It's a very beautiful piece of music, and on this one we feature our tenor sax player, Mr. Reese Yarbrough. Again, this is the Lowndes High School Jazz Ensemble from Valdosta, Georgia. If you're interested, we did travel to Nashville last year and do a CD, and we do have CDs for sale over here at Friends of the Bandshell table, so if you're interested, please stop by. This is Summertime featuring Reese Yarbrough. Thank you. Our lead vocalist this year happens to be a senior that's been performing with us for 4 years, and this is her last performance. And this is a student that is very, very dear to me, she and her family. To tell you my age, I happen to be old enough to have taught her daddy, so she's a second-generation student. But she is a wonderful vocalist, a wonderful musician, and you're going to hear her do several things later on today. But the first thing we're going to do is an old jazz standard that I'm sure you're going to love called Fever. Miss Shanna Stanley.
Never know how much I love you. Never know how much I care. When you put your arms around me, I get a fever that's so hard to bear. You give me fever. When you kiss me, fever when you hold me tight. In the morning, fever all through the night. Sun lights up the daytime, moon lights up the night. I light up when you call my name, and you know I'm gonna treat you right. You give me fever. Kiss me, fever when you hold me tight. Fever in the morning, fever all through the night. Everybody's got the fever. That is something you all need. Fever isn't such a new thing, and fever started long ago. Smith and Pocahontas had a very
you very much, Miss Shanna Stanley. The next piece we'll do for you is a modern jazz piece that was just done within the last 2 years by, I believe it's Stern. On this piece, it's called Horsepower, and on this piece we feature, who's featured on this one? Jake O'Neill on alto sax, and Josh Salter on trombone. And Logan Batterman on trombone. This is Horsepower. Thank you. Thank you very much. As I said earlier, we have a total of 3 vocalists that sing with us this year, and we're going to bring up the 3rd one now. This young lady is new to our organization this year. She's one of our trombone players. She has a beautiful voice, and we look forward to her being with us for the next couple of years. I'd like to introduce you to Miss Josie Moody, and she's going to do a tune entitled Can't Help Loving That Man. Miss Josie Moody.
Tell
stated earlier, this is the Lowndes High School Jazz Ensemble from Valdosta, Georgia, Lowndes High School. The next selection that we're going to do is going to feature our lead alto player. We have a very fine lead alto player this year, Mr. Jake O'Neill, and we're going to feature him on a tune called Harlem Nocturne. We're going to feature now one of our guitar players, Mr. Landon Bryan. Landon is also one of our graduating seniors that's performed with us for all 4 years. We're really going to miss him. He's a fantastic guitarist. We're going to feature him, and we're going to feature Mr. Trey Bauer, our lead trombone player. This is a fun tune called Vehicle. And we're going to feature the whole trombone section. These guys really get rattled if you don't give everybody proper credit. So it's a fun tune called Vehicle. Thank you very much. We're going to feature Shanna Stanley, our lead vocalist again. This is a Nora Jones tune. It's a very beautiful piece of music, and she does a very good job of it. This is Shanna Stanley doing Don't Know Why. Miss Shanna Stanley. Again, this is the Lowndes High School Jazz Ensemble from Valdosta, Georgia, Lowndes High School. We're very happy to be here performing for you this afternoon. We do have, this group did travel to Nashville last year and record a CD, so we do have some CDs for sale over here if you're interested. This year we've got two very fine guitarists with us. Mr. Landon Bryan, who's going to be graduating in about 2 weeks, who we're really going to miss. He's a fantastic guitarist. And we've got a new guitarist that has just joined us this year that's going to take up where Landon leaves off. He's a sophomore, Mr. Kyle White. So we're going to feature our guitarist on this one. This is an Earth, Wind & Fire tune called Fantasy. And on Fantasy, we've got a little dueling guitar thing where you're going to hear both of them take solos and then do some combined solos. So this is Earth, Wind & Fire's Fantasy, featuring Kyle White and Landon Bryan. thank you again. On guitar, Mr. Landon Bryan and Mr. Kyle White. Our next selection is one that was the soundtrack to a movie that was done back in the 70s. The soundtrack was written by Mr. Isaac Hayes, and this is a theme from the movie Shaft. And on it we feature on tenor sax, Mr. Reese Yarborough, and on alto sax, Mr. Jacob O'Neill. We're going to feature Shanna Stanley again on another selection, and this one we're going to have a little fun with. We're going to go back to the 60s and do an old Aretha Franklin tune called Respect, featuring Shanna Stanley. Also featured on this one on guitar, Mr. Kyle White.
I guess I can clap for you.
Miss Shanna Stanley. We're going to feature our guitarist again on this piece, and this is along the line of a jazz shuffle piece. It's called Kissin' Cousins, and on this one again, we're going to feature our guitarist. We're getting very, very close to the end of our program this afternoon. We're going to do one more selection, and then we're going to do our closer. The selection that we're going to do now is going to feature probably one of the best high school percussionists I've ever had the privilege of being associated with. Mr. Jeremy Bell. Stand up, Jeremy, please. Jeremy has been, without a doubt, one of the finest percussionists, and even more importantly, one of the finest young men that I've ever been associated with. He is just a wonderful young man, a wonderful percussionist, and we're really going to miss him. This is a Tower of Power tune called Attitude Dance, and we're going to feature Jeremy and Landon, are you on this one? Landon Bryan on guitar, who's also one of the graduating seniors. Again, this is the Lowndes High School Jazz Ensemble from Lowndes High School in Valdosta, Georgia. I'm trying to give them about 2 minutes to let their lips rest a little bit. I'd like to recognize a couple of people. We have some of our former jazz band members that are with us that came all the way over from Tampa this morning. Allison, stand up, Allison. Allison was one of our keyboard players last year. Philip and Patrick Poole, who are now sophomores at Georgia Tech. My son, Charles Todd, who's a sophomore at the Philip Band. And our lead trumpet player from last year, Mr. Justin Powell, who's also a sophomore at Valdosta State University. So thank you guys for coming down. We're going to do Attitude Dance. As I said, again, feature an extended drum solo by Mr. Jeremy Bell and a guitar solo by Mr. Landon Bryan.